So how long have you been Aboriginal? I'm just
You
kidding.
know what? No, that's all right. That's a good question. That's a good.
It's a joke.
But you know what? You're right in a way because I was not raised Aboriginal at all.
Oh, how were you
I wasn't-
adopted?
No, I wasn't also, but the reserve that I was born on, and I lived in until I was 4 years old, very, very poor reserve. And what happened was it was right next to an Air Force base. So what happened was a way off the res life was for the women of the res to meet Air Forcemen and marry and get off that, get out of that life.
No, I went to Catholic school.
Oh, right, Queen-
And then
right,
then
okay.
I went to Dawson, and I survived Dawson, and then I went to Concordia.
Survived. Were you stereotyped?
No, they survived me actually, because that was when I kind of.
Both parents are Native. My mother is Soto and my father is Ojibwe. But what happened was, so my mother married a non-Native guy, an Air Forceman, and we started moving all over the country.
I started hanging around here. I was 17, 18, and I started hanging around like the Native bars and stuff because I wanted to, meet people, and that's when I actually started to drink.
We lived out in Calgary. We lived on some small radar bases in Manitoba. We ended up in Ottawa in 1980, and then I moved here in 1990, and I've been here ever since.
I was very, very conscious of the fact that both my parents had been alcoholics, so I was very always conscious of that. And I would see my community members just pass out. And
It was only when I really moved to Montreal that I got to see the Native community. I started going to the Native Friendship Center in Montreal.
part of me was embarrassed, but part of me was also concerned. Like I never wanted to be seen like that ever. I never wanted to perpetuate that. So I hung out with my friends and stuff, but I always, I think, in the back of my head, didn't want to be a stereotype. So I went to school.
Because my mother was raised not to be proud of it. So if anyone ever
Be
guessed...
ashamed?
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't from residential school. Neither of my parents went to residential school, luckily.
In my non-native community, in my non-native life, they saw me as an Indian, but I wanted to be a part of that. So I became very able to. I was like a chameleon. I was able to speak Hebrew and then speak Tagalog and then go to church. And
Whenever somebody would ask her what she was, they'd ask her if she was Filipino or, they'd mistake her for whatever kind of nationality it was. She would always say no. She would never correct them, though. She would never say, well, because she wasn't proud of being Native.
But then when I was with my community, when the people found out that people found out that I was raised by non-natives, and I went to university, I went to school, and I didn't have a drinking problem or a drug problem, or all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, you think you're better than us?"
Well, what have I done basically having to research it myself, and speaking to other people. I've had to learn how to sing certain songs just from other people that sing.
You're not native.
They judged you.
You're not native. You don't speak your language. You don't do this. You didn't know. You don't know how to hunt. You don't know how to fish. You don't know how to do this. And
Learn how to dance, funny things like that. That you think that it was just inherent knowledge as a Native, but you'd have to watch them and go, okay, little step, big step, because you'd feel silly, like, oh my God, I don't know how to dance. You have to,
For some people, unless I speak Inuktitut and be able to build igloos and go, it's never going to be enough.
all these other people that were on the reses until they moved here, they had all this, they've had this in their culture.
Yeah.
So they had this big step up on me.
And I have to be okay with who I am, and especially becoming a mother. I realize that as long as my kids are okay, then I'm okay. And if I want to teach them too, that because they're half French. My son and my daughter, their father was French, and my youngest one is non-native. I said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who your parents are. You have to be okay with yourself.